Have you ever imagined a place where people consider it normal to run with their wives on their backs through an obstacle course? Or a country where you can participate in a world championship of air guitar? Welcome to Finland, officially the world's happiest country for 6 consecutive years, but one that hides eccentricities you could never imagine. There in the far north of Europe, between northern lights and seemingly endless nights, exists a nation that has transformed its apparent coldness into a laboratory of legitimate quirks. Finns are known for their seriousness, but at the same time organize competitions like the World Mosquito Hunting Championship, where the winner is whoever manages to kill the most insects in 5 minutes. Yes, you read that right. And for those who think Finns have no sense of humor, they proved otherwise when former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi criticized local cuisine, saying Parma ham was far superior to Finnish smoked reindeer. The response? They created a pizza with smoked reindeer, entered an international pizza competition, and beat Italy. And the cherry on top, they named their creation Berlusconi Pizza. Revenge served hot and with melted cheese. But behind these oddities lies a social system that makes the rest of the world green with envy. How does a country that spends months in total darkness manage to be the happiest on the planet? How does a nation where people are so reserved they avoid sitting next to each other on public transport manage to have the most progressive policies in the world? And what makes Finland, a country with just 5.5 million inhabitants, a powerhouse in education, technology, and quality of life? Get ready to discover the strangest and most impressive secrets of Santa Claus's homeland, where internet access is a constitutional right, and where, believe it or not, there's even a National Sleepyhead Day. Finland is located in the far north of Europe, sharing borders with Sweden, Norway, and Russia. With an area of 338,455 square kilometers, it's the 8th largest European country by territory, larger than Italy and the United Kingdom, to give you an idea. But while those countries have enormous populations, Finland has only 5.5 million inhabitants, making it one of the least densely populated nations on the continent. The country is known as the land of 1,000 lakes, but that's Finnish modesty. There are actually more than 188,000 lakes scattered across its territory. This abundance of fresh water, combined with vast forests covering about 75% of the country, creates a unique connection between Finns and nature. The climate deeply shapes Finnish life and culture. In winter, temperatures can easily drop below minus 20 degrees Celsius, especially in Lapland, the northernmost region. There, the sun doesn't appear for almost 2 months during winter, creating a phenomenon known as polar night. In contrast, during summer, the sun barely sets, resulting in famous endless summer days, where light remains even at midnight. And it's in this frozen setting that you'll find Rovaniemi, the official home of Santa Claus, located exactly on the Arctic Circle. Every year, thousands of tourists visit the city to meet the jolly old man in person, one of the greatest territorial marking successes in recent history. Geopolitically, Finland occupies a delicate position, sharing a 1,340 kilometers border with Russia. This proximity has drastically influenced its history and defense policies. After centuries of foreign domination and wars, the Finns developed a strong national identity and commitment to neutrality that only recently changed with their entry into NATO in 2023, motivated by growing tensions with their Russian neighbor. Finland's history is a journey of survival and resistance, long before becoming the innovation paradise we know today. The first inhabitants arrived in this frozen land about 10,000 years ago, shortly after the Ice Age glaciers melted. These hunter-gatherer peoples learned to master one of Europe's most hostile environments, developing techniques to survive brutal winters. For centuries, the territory we now know as Finland was disputed by 2 powerful neighbors, Sweden and Russia. For almost 700 years, from 1150 to 1809, Finns lived under Swedish rule, which left deep marks on the country's culture, language, and religion. Swedish is still, along with Finnish, an official language, although only 5% of the population speaks it as their mother tongue. In 1809, after the Finnish War, Sweden was forced to cede the territory to Russia, which established the Grand Duchy of Finland, granting Finns some autonomy. During this period, a strong nationalist sentiment emerged, with the publication of the epic Kalevala, a compilation of folk poetry that became fundamental to Finnish national identity. True independence only came in 1917, taking advantage of the chaos of the Russian Revolution. But the first years as a nation were anything but easy. Shortly after declaring independence, Finland plunged into a bloody civil war that divided the country between the Reds, socialists, and the Whites, conservatives. The Whites emerged victorious, but the conflict left deep scars on Finnish society. During World War II, Finland experienced one of the most heroic chapters in its history. In the Winter War, 1939 to 1940, the small Finnish army bravely resisted the invasion of the giant Soviet Union. Although it lost territory, Finnish resistance impressed the world and strengthened the national spirit. This resistance gave rise to the famous Finnish tactics and the creation of the Molotov cocktail, originally used by Finns against Soviet tanks. The post-war period was a time of radical transformation. From a relatively poor agrarian country, Finland began rapid industrialization. Nokia, which started as a paper mill and rubber boot factory in the 19th century, became a symbol of this transformation by reinventing itself as a world leader in mobile phones in the 1990s and 2000s. In recent decades, the country has reinvented itself once again, focusing on education, innovation, and social welfare. Finland transformed from a peripheral country into a model to be followed, with its educational system consistently ranked among the best in the world, and a society that prioritizes equality, transparency, and quality of life for all. If you're planning a trip to Finland, prepare yourself for unique experiences that go far beyond conventional. This is a destination that offers spectacular natural wonders and a fascinating culture that captivates visitors from around the world. The crown jewel of Finnish tourism is undoubtedly Lapland. During winter, this region in the far north transforms into a true frozen wonderland. In Rovaniemi, Lapland's capital, you can cross the imaginary Arctic Circle line, visit Santa's official home, and even send postcards with a special Santa Claus post office stamp. But the real magic happens at night, when the sky lights up with the spectacle of the northern lights, waves of green, pink, and blue light dancing over the snow. The best time to see them is between September and March, away from city lights. For a truly unique experience, stay in one of the famous ice hotels or glass igloos, where you can admire the northern lights directly from your bed. Lapland also offers activities such as husky safaris, reindeer rides, ice fishing, and snowmobile trips through vast white landscapes. In summer, Finland transforms. The country of lakes comes alive with endless days of sunshine, perfect for boating, canoeing, and fishing. The lake region, in the east-central part of the country, is a paradise for nature lovers, with thousands of islands and deserted beaches to explore. And don't forget to try an authentic Finnish sauna. There are more than 3 million of them in the country, almost one for every 2 inhabitants. Helsinki, the capital, combines modern design with historical architecture. The open-air market in the central square is perfect for trying local delicacies like smoked salmon and rye bread. Be sure to visit the imposing Helsinki Cathedral, the peculiar rock church, Templiakio, and the design district where shops and studios showcase famous Finnish design. For the more adventurous, Finland offers bizarre competitions that have become tourist attractions. The wife-carrying world championship in Sankajärvi, where men carry their partners through an obstacle course to win their weight in beer. The mobile phone throwing championship in Savonlinna, inspired by frustration with devices that don't work. Ironically, Nokia's Finnish. And the surreal air guitar championship, where participants pretend to play invisible guitars with elaborate performances. Some important tips for those planning to visit Finland. Bring appropriate clothing for cold weather even in summer, as nighttime temperatures can drop considerably. Prepare for high prices, especially in restaurants and bars. And respect Finns' personal space. They value silence and may seem reserved at first glance, but are extremely helpful when approached. The best time to visit depends on what you want to experience. Winter, December to March, for northern lights and snow activities, or summer, June to August, to enjoy the long days and lush nature. Whatever your choice, Finland will guarantee unforgettable memories. The Finnish economy is a fascinating study of how a small country with few natural resources can reinvent itself and prosper. For decades, Finland relied heavily on the forest industry. It's no coincidence that one of Nokia's first products was toilet paper rolls. Today, however, the country has transformed into a technology and innovation powerhouse. With a GDP per capita of approximately $55,000, Finland ranks among the world's most prosperous economies. The country is known for its welfare capitalism model, combining a competitive market economy with a strong social protection system. Companies such as Nokia, Kone Elevators, Wärtsilä Energy, and Marimekko Design are examples of Finnish success in global markets. The average monthly salary in Finland is about 3,500 euros, approximately $3,800, one of the highest in Europe. However, the cost of living is also high. A one-bedroom apartment in downtown Helsinki can easily cost between 800 and 1,200 euros per month, $870 to $1,300. Monthly food expenses for one person are around 300 euros, $325, while a meal at a mid-price restaurant can cost about 15 euros, $16. Finland invests heavily in education and research, allocating almost 7% of GDP to these sectors. This investment has paid off. The country is consistently ranked among the most innovative in the world. The digital economy represents more than 30% of Finland's GDP, with startups such as Supercell, creator Clash of Clans, and Rovio, creator of Angry Birds, achieving global success. A fascinating economic curiosity is the Finnish system of income proportional fines. In the country, traffic tickets are calculated based on the offender's income. This has resulted in extraordinary fines, such as the 103,000 euros, $112,000, given to an executive for speeding. Commitment to sustainability is also a pillar of the Finnish economy. The country pioneered the implementation of a deposit return system for packaging recycling. When buying drinks in cans or bottles, Finns pay a small additional amount that is refunded when they return the packaging. The result? A recycling rate of more than 90% for cans and bottles. Another unique aspect is how Finland has transformed its geography and climate into competitive advantages. Extreme cold, for example, has made the country an ideal location for data centers, which use low temperatures for natural server cooling. Companies like Google and Microsoft have installed large data centers in the country, taking advantage not only of the climate, but also clean energy and political stability. A significant challenge of the Finnish economy is the aging population, with one of the lowest birth rates in Europe. The country has implemented aggressive policies to attract skilled immigrants, especially in technology, offering incentives and simplified visa processes for foreign professionals. Behind the image of social perfection, Finland hides peculiarities that challenge foreigners' understanding. Finns are known for their love of personal space. There's even a local joke that says the ideal social distance between two people at a bus stop is at least 5 meters. This characteristic is reflected in curious customs. In elevators, Finns frequently look at the floor or their phones to avoid unnecessary interactions. Alcohol consumption reveals a surprising side of these generally reserved people. Finland has one of the highest rates of alcohol consumption in Europe, and celebrations like Johannes, summer solstice, often end with typically shy Finns singing karaoke at the top of their lungs after a few shots of Koskenkorva, the local vodka. This contrast between everyday sobriety and excesses during celebrations reflects what Finns themselves call sisu, a form of stoicism and resilience that helps them face adversities, especially the harsh winters. Speaking of drinks, Finland is a country with the highest per capita coffee consumption in the world. An average Finn consumes about 12 kilograms of coffee per year, almost twice as much as an Italian. This caffeine addiction is so cultural that coffee breaks are guaranteed by law in workplaces. But not everything is harmless eccentricity. Finland faces serious problems, such as one of the highest suicide rates in Western Europe and growing cases of seasonal depression, especially during months of almost constant darkness. Although the Finnish healthcare system is exemplary, the culture of introspection and reluctance to express emotions have created a taboo around mental health that has only recently begun to break. Another contradictory aspect is the relationship with the indigenous Sami people. Although Finland is celebrated for its human rights, the Sami, who inhabit the northernmost regions, frequently report discrimination and cultural exploitation, especially in tourism. The appropriation of Sami culture to attract visitors to Lapland without adequate benefits for local communities continues to be a point of tension. Environmental policy also generates controversies. Despite its commitment to renewable energy, Finland is one of the few European countries that continues to expand its nuclear capacity. The Olkiluoto 3 plant, after years of delays and budget overruns, finally began operation, dividing public opinion between those who see nuclear energy as necessary for decarbonization and those concerned about its risks. The hunting tradition also raises controversy. Wolf hunting, especially, has been criticized by international environmental organizations, while many rural Finns defend it as necessary to protect herds and as part of their cultural heritage. Despite these challenges, it's undeniable that Finland got something fundamental right: trust. The country has one of the lowest corruption rates in the world, with such an efficient transparency system that all citizens' tax data is public. Anyone can check how much their neighbor or even the president paid in taxes the previous year. After diving into Finland's eccentricities, contradictions, and wonders, one question remains. What can we learn from this small Nordic country that has transformed seemingly impossible challenges into advantages? Perhaps the secret lies precisely in sisu, that mixture of determination, courage, and resilience that defines the Finnish character. A people who transformed endless nights into opportunities to see northern lights, who made extreme cold a tourist attraction, and who converted the absence of traditional natural resources into a driver for innovation. Finland teaches us that limitations can be our greatest catalyst for creativity. A country that was predominantly agrarian and suffered devastating wars managed to reinvent itself as a powerhouse in technology, education, and quality of life. And yes, Finns have their problems. Social isolation, long dark nights that affect mental health, contradictions in their environmental policies. But they also demonstrate an incredible ability to face these problems head-on, with honesty and determination to improve. While the world continues to seek models of functioning societies, Finland doesn't offer a perfect formula, but rather an inspiring example of how to balance economic efficiency with social welfare, technological innovation with respect for tradition, and seriousness with a peculiar touch of quirkiness that makes us smile. In the end, perhaps that's the real reason why Finns are considered the happiest in the world. They've learned that happiness doesn't come from the relentless pursuit of wealth or power, but from building a society where everyone can live with dignity, trust, and occasionally carry their wives on their backs in a beer-fueled competition. And if that means being a bit eccentric in the eyes of the world, well, Finns would probably just shrug, take another sip of coffee, and continue playing their imaginary guitars with pride.